and said, I've got some good news for you, but I've also got some bad news and some even worse news. And I took the bait and I said, well, what's the good news? He says, well, TMA, as you know, is having their 20th anniversary program, putting together a great plenary session, and I'd like you to be on what's going to shape up to be a very nice panel. I said, that is pretty good. I'll agree to do that. I said, what's the bad news? And he said, well, the bad news is we've got to tell everybody where to invest in 2009. And I said, well, that is going to be a tough row to hoe. I said, and what's the really bad news? He said, you've been doing so much in structured financing, despite the meltdown there, you've got to tell people what to do in structured financing that's positive for next year. And that was 9 months ago, and of course, since then, we've had a substantially greater degradation in that marketplace. So I took the opportunity, frankly, besides just my own insights, is to poll my partners around the world and said, what do you really think is the right spot for people to be next year? And the two topics, or the two items that came back by overwhelming suggestion, invest in spam and invest in candles. I actually think we're probably going to be able to be a little more insightful for that, and we'll launch into it, but it's granted the structured finance area is a very, very challenging area. I think what you really need to do to figure out where to go next year is to see what's happened in the meltdown, why it occurred, and quite frankly, why prices are so bad there. And if you really parcel through everything, besides the degradation in housing prices, and we'll talk a little bit about that, what you really see is that the relatively low correlation that were baked into most people's models and that came from historical analyses of the markets broke down. That instead of a low correlation, we actually had a very, very high correlation between the way the assets were moving within each group. Two of them, the ones that I've put up here, is the residential mortgage-backed securities. I'll show you in a moment.